don't believe I'm the best.
You need to come across as confident. You need to communicate your value and your level of expertise to people. How you operate, how you show up naturally, like your belief system is going to dictate everything that happens after that.
They asked me, what is the biggest challenge for me with doing my work? And I told them, y'all be getting in my way. And they laughed. They laughed about it. They thought it was everybody. But it's the truth.
No, 100%. But see, now I would just figure out how to engineer that in, like on the front end to conversation. Say, here's my price and here's my conditions. And part of my conditions is I need you to stay out of my way. This doesn't mean you're not going to have any say in the creative process, but it does mean these kind of things because I've proved myself and I'm a bad man when it comes to like storytelling. And you can ask, like, you can look at these particular videos, you can look at the proof, it's in the pudding, and it's also in these references I have, in these people that have done like massive projects, and they've worked with multiple people, and they'll tell you, amongst the people that they've worked with, I am the best. And so I think when you get into that mindset and you begin to shift into that place, like in that's the belief stuff. So the first step in any of this stuff deals with your belief system and deals with your being. So how you operate, how you show up naturally, like your belief system is going to dictate everything that happens after that. A lot of people, a lot of programs, a lot of ideas, like the stuff we're taught in the classroom is about doing. Do.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
So how do I, like, because that's the thing, like, I believe that I have like an offering in my own way. But I don't think that, like, I know I'm not the best, but I know I'm different. I'm my own unique, like, style, right? And I have that. So, like, is there a way to say that without, like, I don't want to come across as, like, cocky and...
You need to come across as...
Not even like
You need to come across as confident. There's different takes on this. I've heard people say, honestly, there's a motivational speaker that I listen to that another speaker told him, you need to tell people that you need to believe you're the best, and you need to tell people that you're the best. And now he's the self-proclaimed best. I don't think he's the best, personally. And I think it sounds weird when he says that. But so I get what you're saying. What I am saying is this: you need to communicate your value and your level of expertise to people. And what I'm saying about you being the best is that amongst people that you've worked with, for some of them, you're the best they've experienced. And they've paid multiple different companies to do things. And so those are the people that you need to circle back with and say, and find the areas, like if you have a survey, find the areas where you're saying, here's all the boxes. Like, give me let's talk about each box. And find those boxes where, like, storytelling is 5 stars, for instance. And also look at the boxes that might be a 2 or a 3 star, and then say, hey, if I know that if I'm going to provide an experience that is top tier, I'm going to have to get this 2 star to at least a 3.5. And maybe that means I need to package this. I need to make sure that my budget reflects somebody to help me on this, like to bring this 2 to a 3.5 or a 4. So that you're getting, so that at the end of the day, like, you're having an amazing experience, and that you're able to operate in your sweet spot. Because the reason something's a 2 oftentimes is just because, like, we don't love that part of it, and we need to figure out a way to hire it, but we can't hire it if we don't have the belief system that's going to support the dollar amount and the confidence to get that dollar amount with our clients. The B and the believe are they're hand in hand. They're family, they're cousins, they're, in some ways they feel synonymous, but that's the place where you get to where you identify, hey, here's who I am, here's who God made me, here's what my experiences have done, here's all of the beautiful things that I bring to the table and that are particular to this particular experience. So I don't need to talk about my competitor's experience necessarily. I'm just gonna tell you, there's an old adage that says, when you throw dirt at somebody, you lose a lot of ground and your hands get dirty. So you don't need to throw shade on other people. But if you do understand where you stand out to them, you can address those inadvertently, kind of like as an aside. You can kind of seed that into people's mind. Like, here's all the ways that I excel. But getting to the place where you really believe and you really accept and know that, like, man, I'm freaking amazing. And I think this is a weird place. Like, you don't want to be cocky. But you do want to be confident because God made you who you are, and there's only one of you. There's only one of you. And that is a place where when you can do that, and when you can hold humility and confidence together and say, I have a great product. There's other people out there you can go with. Here's what I'm going to give you, and here's how I execute. Like that place comes from a place of belief. And when you don't operate from that place, your services lack when you don't believe in yourself. Your energy lacks when you don't believe in yourself. And you miss so much, and people miss so much because you're operating at a lower level. You're playing small. Your subconscious comes out both in the way that you talk about your product and in the way that you show up to serve people. And so you really need to in order to be and to serve the way that you're supposed to serve, you need to really fully embrace who you are, because God made you that way. And there's so much self-condemnation, there's so much self-doubt and all of these things, and it's really shifting away from those and taking the time and sitting in the dark and in the painful times and all the things that people said to you and all the things that you have said to yourself, because a lot of times we're our biggest bullies. We are the biggest problems, and we're the biggest limitations. When you talk about people getting in their own way, and people like, hey, you're the problem, you're getting in the way of your own thing. A lot of times we do that to ourselves. Like, it's just harder to see that. And so when we really sit with this, and when we get centered, and when we really dig in to say, hey, here's what I want to do, and we can kind of, we realize like, hey, I may have wandered into this path, whether from a vocational standpoint, from a even dollar amount standpoint. But when we can get to the place where we can kind of zoom back a little bit and realize like, man, there is another version of me with a different set of beliefs that needs to break some of these habit loops and these thought patterns in order to go on a new path and to find a new income and to serve people at a way that's maxed out.